All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Unplugged. Have another special guest here today, Tasha Rountree. She is our Director of Community Relations. But before we get to our discussion on community relations, I got to talk about somebody who's out of the frame right now, our intern, Caroline McCrory. Caroline has been a great intern. She's sitting in with us today. So there's three of us in the room, and she comes from the best school in the United States, in App State. So
That's right.
We're not biased in that at all. But Tasha, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to another episode of Unplugged. We're going to talk about all things community. You know, we have a lot going on at Blue Ridge. We are big corporate citizens, and we think that's important because we want to be part of the communities we help, lift up and help bring electricity to, and continue to make a big impact. So I guess the first thing I want to dive into, education. Education is something that we are really especially a part of. And why do you think it's important to be part of that?
Well, I hope all the listeners have been tuning in to the fact that we're building a brighter future at Blue Ridge. And I think that our commitment to our communities is helping us build a brighter future for our members and our community. I mean, we support education in a variety of ways. And, we're investing in our education and our youth programs in the hope that we'll build a brighter future for our community.
And one thing that always sticks out to me, looking at it from a different perspective, trying to help communicate some of these things to people, a lot of companies do a little bit here or there, or maybe they do scholarships and all of that's great. But, we're one of the few companies and one of the few really industries that is involved with kids really from the start, all the way up through high school. And how are we involved with them at a younger age?
Well, one of the biggest things that we're doing right now is our safety demos, in which we're going into all fourth grade classrooms. COVID put a little bit of a hindrance on that, but we're back now. We plan to be in every classroom this year. But we're teaching kids about how to be safe around electricity and planting those seeds early. And the other thing that they're getting exposure to is the type of careers and opportunities that are available at Blue Ridge. And that's important for our youth so they can kind of see, what options they can have when they get older. We participate in a lot of career fairs, and we start those processes very early on so that the kids are getting exposed.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that just what goes on behind the scenes to power a utility. I mean, obviously we know the linemen, they're the heroes. They're the folks who are getting the power back on. But there's a whole operations team behind them to support them, including dispatch and operations managers and folks that are coordinating logistics on a day-to-day basis. But we're a company. You have to have accountants. You've got to have people who do social media, do community relations. You got to have people who are doing IT and things like that. So really, we're a big company. It's good to teach kids at a young age that there's more to it than just one or two different job roles. There's a lot of job roles that go into something like this. But for the older students, I think this is really important to talk about. Several years ago, the leadership track was started. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? And if I'm a parent, how do I get my kid involved in that?
So the leadership track was formed by Grace Shear, who was the previous director of community relations. And it came out of a process when we were interviewing kids for scholarships. The need, he could see the obvious need for these kids to have developed their leadership skills before they get into a college interview or a scholarship interview. And so that's how the leadership track was formed. I think we're in our 8th year now, and we have nearly 200 students engaged throughout our service area. And we have some really exciting things planned for the students this year, but if they want to apply, the only thing they have to do is go on our website and fill out an application, and we accept all students, so there's not a selection process. Every student is in our service area is able to participate, but we have a focus on building those leadership skills for everything from college preparedness to interview skills, essay writing. So they get exposure to a variety of different things. But we've got something in the works that I want to tell you about because we're really excited about it. This year, we're going to hold a leadership track summit, and it's going to be like an all-day event in which we are bringing in lots of partners, some colleges. We're working with our partner for the leadership track program, Elizabeth Hartley from Scholarship Gold, and putting this together. So that date is going to be October the 8th. So we hope that we can get as many kids from high school engaged in that as possible.
And specifically with the leadership track, is it all high school students? Can they start at all grade levels?
Yep.
How exactly does that flow work?
Yes, they can start at any point in time. You think you're in your senior year, that may be too late, but we have senior year essentials workshops. I mean, we have essay writing, we have interview skills. All of those things can help the students at any point in time. So it doesn't matter if they're in the at the start of their freshman year or going into their senior year. They can join at any point and they will get some benefit from it.
And really that's important too, because it doesn't matter whether or not they're planning to go to college or whether they're not planning to go to college. Those are essential skills that add to your education quality and make it all that much better. So that's a great program we're part of. And if folks are interested, I know on our website we do have the leadership track. All the sign up stuff is there. If you go to our community tab and you go leadership track, you should be able to find it. Tasha, I want to talk about too, we've spoken about the students and what we do for the students. Yeah. You really, from a young age all the way through high school. But as far as the educators themselves, the teachers, the ones we know and love who are raising these kids in the classrooms and doing such a great job locally, what do we have for them? I think we have a big program they can take advantage of too.
Yeah, so that's our Bright Ideas program, and we are accepting applications for that now. But the Bright Ideas are teacher grants that provide funds for innovative projects in the classroom that they may not have funding for. The schools, they run on very tight budgets, and a lot of times they just don't have the extra funds that would allow for creativity. And so that's where the Bright Ideas comes in, and they are eligible to receive up to $2,000. So you can tell that can make a huge impact in a classroom when they can buy tools and resources that they may not have for a innovative project in their classroom.
Any cool projects you've seen yourself that you really liked?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So, I recently got the chance to go to Sparta Elementary School there in Allegheny County and met with a teacher that has a long history of winning Bright Ideas grants. Her name is Cecilia Hampton. And what was cool about the whole experience is that you can tell it's not just making an impact one year. It's year after year after year. But Cecilia had wrote a grant for worms she actually had worms in this fourth grade classroom, and they were eating compostable material. It was so cool. It was very, very neat. But she had since moved on to a different grade, but they're still using that in that fourth grade classroom. So I think the biggest thing about the grants is that it not only impacts one classroom and one group of students, it's a continual impact year after year because they're able to continue to use the projects.
And that's so important because, you think about a lot of the projects that you can come up with, not everything has that longevity, but it seems like all of these Bright Ideas projects do have longevity to it. Mm-hmm. It benefits not only those classrooms and kids that are in there now, but it carries on for multiple grade levels and multiple years, and they can all appreciate it. And we're keeping all that local. That's what's important. We're helping local teachers directly. I was going to ask you too, just off the cuff, what are some of your favorite, or what is your favorite education program that we do here at Blue Ridge? If you had to nail it down to one thing and we talked about, what do you think is your favorite and why?
I don't know if I can pick a favorite. I mean, they all are unique and special in their own way, and it's really fun to get to be a part of that, of all the programs and see how, we get teachers that send us feedback on how the Bright Ideas have impacted their classroom. And we get feedback from the leadership students that they're contacting us years later, to tell success stories of how the leadership track has made a difference for them in their college journey or their career path. So it's very hard to pick a favorite, but I will tell you something that's a lot of fun that I did here recently, through our statewide organization, we're able to help send kids to basketball camp. And I got to visit 4 schools to award kids the opportunity to go to NC State or Carolina basketball camp. And the look on those kids' face when you show up and tell them, it's just priceless. Like just the amount of joy that it brings them. And I think that's intangible for us. So that's very, just rewarding, and the reason why we do what we do.
And I think one of the awesome things about the co-op basketball camps is as long as I can remember. In fact, being a child, I remember those camps going on. I mean, that's been a long-standing tradition in North Carolina for co-ops, and I think it's a really cool program around the state in general. But speaking of traditions, youth tour.
Yeah.
Kids just got back from youth tour. So if you want to give a brief overview on what youth tour is, because I feel like we talk about it a lot, but I don't know if people know how awesome youth tour is and how long that's been going on.
Yeah. So I mentioned our statewide organization, the North Carolina Electric Cooperatives. So cooperatives from all over the state of North Carolina send representatives to our Washington, D.C., in which the kids get to participate in it's really a 6-day experience in Washington, D.C. And they take tours all around Washington, D.C. But also the big thing is that gives them an opportunity to learn about electric cooperatives and cooperatives in general and the cooperative model. And it's a great experience. We sent 3 students this year, and we try to send at least 3 to 4 students from our service area every year. So if students are interested, they need to be a member of the leadership track program to participate, but it's a big opportunity that a lot of students in our area are unaware of.
So yeah, if you're a student listening to this, or you're a teacher and you have some students in mind, or a parent, you have a student in mind at home, sign up for the leadership track. It's free. I mean, one of the few great things in life that's free, right?
That's
talk about
that's right.
Right
that's
now,
right.
free would be a really nice thing for a lot of
nice.
stuff. So really awesome programs there. Well, Tasha, thank you for hopping on the podcast and joining us for another episode of Unplugged. We certainly appreciate it. Like we talked about, if you want to look at any of these initiatives, you can go to our website. We have a community tab on the left, and I'll show you everything that we're doing. But in particular, Bright Ideas grants, like we said, are open as of, we're in August now. College football season here is upon us, and we're in August. So that means Bright Ideas is upon us. And go there, check it out. And
I'll just add one thing. Most individuals are not excited about school starting, but we love it at Blue Ridge because of all of our community programs start back. So it's fun times for us. Maybe not for students.
I don't remember it being fun times for me. Well, thank you, Tasha. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob.